the person, what their age, what their size, what their style, what their preference, it is here. When you buy food, beverage, and merchandise items at this show, you'll be dealing with your friends and they work for it as volunteers working free of charge. So it's a win-win situation whenever you exchange money here. A great portion of it stays in the city of Cleveland and helps. If you purchase the program or your Cleveland National Air Show sticker that's been stuck over that ad, you have won a sponsor box seat for next year's show. That's the incentive for picking up the Cleveland National Air Show sticker, something that was then put on there by a human being. If you have that, go to the information center depicted on page 40 and 41 of your program and show that to them. They'll give you the VIP package for next year's show. Our official soft drink and the Labatt ad, our official beer. You've bought a program, you've got a chance to win some great seats for next year's show. Check out those stickers, and if you're a winner, congratulations, go to the information center.
There's when we land, we'll close the clamshells, convert 20% of the thrust
America
back up
Online,
the
like
thing
you
and
get
stop
online
it.
today.
Just delete
Most
there.
popular internet online service. It's where all of your friends. For calls up to 20 years. Check it out. And now on the stage with us, great friends from previous air shows, Colonel Nick.
I need to. What do you need?
Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant First Class Sergio Punita in on the target area. Watch the arms and watch the hands and take that Fujifilm moment with the Union Jack under the black and gold canopy of the U.S. Army Golden Knights right on target. Janine Leslie in our national anthem, and Mark Healy bringing in the U.S. flag. A big round of applause for that show opening. An 8 maneuver, that's 5/8 of a loop. Walt Addison Linscott has been flying since age 16, has 10,000 hours of flying time in military and civilian aircraft. Just to his left, you can see the C-31 French up the U.S. Army Golden Knights getting ready to dump a foot of jumpers down Brown Stadium. So here comes slow motion. Now watch this as he hangs it up by the prop. Forcing that brute into the air with sheer horsepower and shaking it all the way around in the world's tiniest loop. A big round of applause for Walt Linscott. He is from Cleveland, Ohio, and that man can fly. As he comes down in knife-edge flight. And as the last second rolls to the right, backing up on the tail. And now a big down recovery. Half given 8 off on the right. Saber, the slash coming down. Rolls to the right side up position to get lift. Now watch for the gyroscopic tumble. Imagine going through this maneuver with Walt Linscott. As the world becomes nothing but a blur, now he hangs around for a second or two, and he starts to fly the aircraft again. Included, have time to snap this against the lake in the clear. Heard these sounds. And then, if you lived around a military base in the U.S. and Canada, from early morning to late at night, this would be the sounds that you heard. As we were engaged in World War II. First aircraft taking off with its flight crew of Don Elgin, Paul Stoikoff, John Shower, J.B. Hudson, John Flynn, and Rodney Jackson is the took off from the pitching deck of the USS Hornet for the raid on Tokyo. 10,000 of those aircraft were built. Of those 19,000 of these aircraft built, one of 3 remaining flying aircraft. Consolidated B-24, long-range 4-engine bomber known as Diamond Will. 19,000 and greater were built, only 3 of them. The awesome flying fortress, the Boeing B-17, built by the Boeing Company. Prototype first flying in 1935. 12,731 were built. In the world today, only 11 of these aircraft are actually flying. This is our Bomber in Review, commemorative year 2000 flight. You can only see this in Cleveland this weekend, these 4 bombers, ladies and gentlemen, because of the fact that the aircraft down over the lake now, known as Fifi, the B-29, is the last remaining one flying in the world today. Bob Odegaard's P-51D Mustang, sponsored this weekend by Mr. Bill Kilroy and his associates at Trust Technologies, a company dedicated to the preservation of historic aircraft. Now, coming in to bomb Germany, but came out too late for that, was sent to the Pacific Theater. 4,100 miles of range, pressurized for pilot comfort, and great speed on those 2,200 horsepower Wright engines. This airplane had the range to get the bombs deep into enemy territory. Mitchell bombers took off in the lead with Jimmy Doolittle. They were going to bomb Tokyo. While that in itself was a surprise to the Japanese, the Emperor told his people, "We will never be harmed by the enemy on our shores." Jimmy Doolittle in April bombed Tokyo. And it was a turning point in the war because they had to devour air cover and held the enemy at bay. As you look to the left of the end of the war, as August 6, 1945, the world entered the atomic age. The war in Japan would be over in hours due to this type of airplane. Colonel Paul Tibbets and the crew of the Enola Gay, joined later by the airplane known as the Boxcar, were responsible for 47,000 young men losing their life on daylight bombing raids. Rosie the Riveter stayed at home, went to work for the aircraft factories, worked long hours to get the machines to the men. The men flew the machines. Will you give these airplanes your civilian salute, please? Kids away from home for the first time. Maybe they were from Cleveland. So when they went on these missions, there was no bravado. There was no flip attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, many of those came back to the United States, but couldn't enjoy it because they were in a coffin. Heroes to each one of us. And 24 would leave, perhaps 10 would return. Inside, the floor of the bombers ran crimson red amongst the spent. No more bombers coming in. They head back to operations. But the base mascot would be staring at the horizon, barking, because he knew there was a lone bomber coming. Please let them make it back. The airplane would often come in with gear up, skidding on the grass to a landing, taking out any obstruction. Shadowed by the rescue crews and the medical crews, they would be taken off the airplane and administered to. If they could get the airplane up in the air the next day, they would work all night to do that. If a pilot was okay, even though he had had his airplane shot up and crew members died, 5 bombers, the Jimmy Doolittle Tokyo Raiders, B-24,
and reminiscing with Cleveland. And we're so happy to have you back because you guys created history during the golden age of air racing. I got to ask you a question after all these years. Look at the Golden Knights Center going into Brown Stick and Cook. Did you guys have an idea that 1949 would be the last opportunity? Grasso, Assistant Curator of the Transportation, Crawford Museum of Transportation and Industry. Okay, now, we had a contest in the Sun newspaper. And did you ever dream about becoming a pilot? Well, this young man did. We have someone with us today whose dream came true. Rod Backus won an air show contest through Sun newspaper. It's called Be a Pilot, and it was through Northwind Aviation. Because he filled out a coupon in Sun newspapers, perhaps like you did, his was picked. He took his first flight lesson on Friday with aerobatic champion. All right, let's get ready to wave Cleveland as Sean brings the team in with a gentle turn as they pass in front of you. As a salute to our great 7 CASPA pilots who are Ian Groom, Rocky Hill, Sean Tucker, Gene Susi, Greg Cole, Matt Chapman, and Mike Goulian. How about a big wave? And a big thank you. A pure white sunburst design. The beautiful paint job has been accurately duplicated right down to the single white propeller blade. What's that all about? You'll see it. By Master Aircraft Restorer Award winner Bob Odegaard. More on that one white prop blade later. Now the road to restoring the fabled racer is a long and winding one. After Cleveland, 7 people owned the airplane and moved it to 7 states before finding a home with Bob Odegaard, our pilot, in North Dakota. Disassembled down to the last nut and bolt. Do you see the one white propeller that looks like the engine is idling? That was authentic. This is what it was like down the road at Hopkins Airport in 1949. As this airplane comes home, slow roll with the white sunburst paint scheme performed by Bob Odegaard. The one white prop blade. And the history of this particular aircraft. probably made most famous by Greg Tappy Boyington, that rogue commander of the Black Sheep Squadron, ace of the Marines, and the series Black Sheep Squadron starred Robert Conrad and later changed to Bob Black Sheep. Get this in your Fuji quick snap cameras, the lone white propeller blade, red and white racing stripes, the Ohio logo on the side. Number 57 is back. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give Bob a big Ohio and Cleveland wave? He can't hear your applause, but if you wave your hats, your programs, and your hankies, he will know that the 10,000-hour restoration was all worth it. And I'll tell you this, Bob Odegaard has a big smile on his face. Well, you want to win up to $100,000? You can play Buckeye 5, just select 5 numbers. $1 could win you 1, 10, 250, or 100,000 clams. With 4 drawings a week, the numbers are in your favor. Play Buckeye 5 today. Our thanks to Discount Drug Marts, to Coca-Cola, and to Labatt as we get ready to welcome our friends from the United Kingdom. The Nimrod will fly with Squadron Leader Duncan Milne providing the narration.